Hi, it's me, Dora V here, and I will be talking about Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4. And I took my sweet old time with this because I spent the whole week going through leaks. I will do this. It's one of the few shows where I will look for leaks because reasons. And honestly, I feel like the Oscar director from Naked Gun 33 and a third, where he's just drinking Maalox, doing all these drugs, and the cops come in and say, "We're trying to prevent disaster!" And then he says, "You're too late for that." And that's exactly how I'm feeling now. But that's because episode 4 is just a lot of bullshit. That's what I think that this show has become, a lot of bullshit. And it's been ongoing. I want to say since Oberyn died, that seems to be the general consensus, and I find myself agreeing that, yeah, pretty much after that. And it started with the Sand Snakes, the Littlefinger, and now it seems to me that pretty much everyone is just being character assassinated. All of them, each and every one of them. And let me just start. Okay, so we get the funeral. So there's Theon and Jorah. It's just one of those things, don't know what you got till it's gone. And Sansa gives Theon a wolf pin, and I thought that was pretty nice. But Theon, I have to admit, it's a shame that he died, but I think he got like a really good redemption arc. And you know what? He tried to kill the Night King, so I think he died a pretty good death, compared to a lot of others. But yeah, I think honestly he's been spared when you really think about it. And there was a speech, I think that was Jon Snow, and it made me smile. But cynical me is all like, yeah, however, you'll always have people who will never pay that. They just pay that debt. They just won't be bothered. Some people just plain don't give a shit. You know, like Cersei. And then a synchronized bonfire. I thought that was pretty cool. And it's followed by a nice candlelit dinner, so yay. So Daenerys basically made a very good choice here by saying that Gendry Baratheon is now Lord Baratheon and he gets Storm's End. Good for him. If there's anyone who deserves it, it's him. He busted his ass making all those weapons and armor, and he really did. He certainly, hopefully he'll end well, but I think he will. He'll be fine, hopefully. And it says, a fitting reward for a hero. Yeah, it sounds about right to me. And yeah, no doubt Gendry would be loyal forever. Like very few people could refuse. I mean, who in their right mind would do that? Unless they're just super consistent in whatever it is they believe in. But even then, like, some of that power could help. But yeah, if there's anyone, it should definitely be him who gets it. And let's see what else. Tormund. Oh yeah, he made this real nice toast scene, but doesn't he always? And oh, there's that drinking game again. That's a throwback with Shay, and they're all like telling truths. Like, is it true that you're this or that? True here? Is it true that Brienne's a virgin? Is this true? Is that true? Yes, Tyrion was married, but it's barely even touched on. Blah. And then Dany, like, she looks very uncomfortable and maybe a little resentful. And there have been complaints that she's acting like an irrational schoolgirl, and I agree. And I think that's bullshit. Like, yeah, I'll get to that later, but what's happening to her is complete bullshit. It is contrived bullshit. That Varys feels for her, and he's worried. Oh, right. Yeah, anyway. I think she feels that she's fresh out of friends, except Missandei and Grey Worm. Yeah, but she's still in the north, and she'd be shrewd enough to know that people are going to be more comfortable with who they're familiar with. So obviously they're going to be turning to Jon or Sansa because they're northern people, and it stands to reason that they're going to favor their own first, but once she becomes more integrated, then she can be part of that. I think she should know this, but instead they're trying to push the Mad Queen narrative to probably subvert it. But it's just complete bullshit. Like, it just, yeah, it's just, ugh. Jaime doing a cock block. Oh, poor Tormund. He's cock blocking Tormund. And Tyrion, I think, says a funny. I think that was a great funny. And the hand, and if you're looking for comfort, you should probably not look to the Hound for comfort. I don't think that's very wise. In fact, I think that's very stupid. And, or much of anything at all, really. Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Guts of Berserk. And I say this because Guts, he's someone who does push people away. And he actually has good reason to do that. Very good reason. If you read Berserk, you will find out. If you don't, tough. Anyway, Sansa is looking lovely with the Hound. And there is a scene that a lot of people seem to have a problem with. Like, she claims that without Littlefinger, etc., she would have stayed a little bird all my life. I actually don't agree with this. I think if she stayed in King's Landing, she would have been a dead bird, or at least highly likely, or someone a little too similar to Cersei. Yeah, screw that. If she was with the Hound, I think that she would have grown a bit differently, but she probably wouldn't have learned in the same way she did with Littlefinger. So I think Littlefinger was the one who really kind of helped her get on the path she is now. And Ramsay, I just think that taught her that some people are just unredeemable pieces of shit. And they get taught her that. But no one's saying that, oh, that what happened to her is a good thing because it made her stronger. No, I suspect that, yeah, she had strength all along. I believe that. But I'm also inclined to believe that being exposed to people like Littlefinger, it taught her to be more shrewd, I think, in how to survive and how to play the game, pretty much. But I do think the strength was always there. But even if it wasn't, I'm not gonna give, like, shitty people any kind of credit. Fuck them. I'm just not. But I think it was, like, she did have some support, like Theon did save her. She did have Arya, so she did have some support system, and her own choices based on what happened to her. All I know for sure is that she grew on me, I'd say, like, since season 1. I thought she was kind of annoying at first, but I'd say for 90% of the series, I've liked her. I really did like her. And I did believe that she could very easily be one of the queens who takes down Cersei. Younger, more beautiful. And she is. I really think she's the most beautiful of the queens. And I think she's a good option for the Iron Throne. And I'll get to that later. Anyway, so during this scene with Arya and Gendry, I kind of thought my negative side of me would say, nah, she's going to refuse him. And I told it to shut up. Because Arya Gendry for the win. But the moment I told my negative side to shut up was the moment my negative side proved right. As it turns out, she refuses, and then I remembered the reasons, like, that's not me. Oh, she's been saying that since season 1, so it makes sense. My neg side was right. Okay, thank you, neg side. You were right. Whatever, and why on God's green earth is 1,000 Oceans suddenly playing in my head? It's this really good Tori Amos song that I love, and it's so incredibly sad. But why was that playing there? Like, wow. I guess poor Gendry's sad. And it was actually playing in my head throughout the entire episode. And while I'm looking at all the links, gee, I wonder why. Jaime Brienne for the win. Well, that's nice. I'm fine with that. Ugh, anyway. Okay, Danny, let me solve your problem. No one sits on the Iron Throne. No one. Or how about a joint rule? That has been a thing. It does happen. And really, like, there have been, like, even if she were the sole ruler, people would be more loyal to Jon. Like, yeah, that's true. But so what? You'd still be the queen. But there have been instances of a ruling queen that has a consort, and people were saying that the consort may as well have been queen or king. Well, I'm going to use like Queen Victoria and Prince Consort Albert for an example. Albert had a great deal of influence, and he did, and people were just thinking he may as well be king, but he wasn't. Queen Victoria was queen. Like, she was a reign. I mean, no one's saying that she now has no power. You are nothing. No, that's not what happened. It's just that the consort happened to have a lot of influence, and she would have been stupid to try and stop that, which is I don't think she did. And usually when a consort has a lot of influence, it doesn't typically diminish their the monarch's power. Like, I don't think it does. I don't think it should. But I do think that to try to relegate a consort to say only a husband or only a, I don't think that's a smart move. In fact, I think it's a stupid move. And I like to think that Dany would be a bit smarter than that. And all I'm saying is that this is a manufactured problem. I think it's just a bullshit problem. This is done through contrivance by basically ruining Dany, because really, there is a great Tumblr post about this. I'll link it. It says how her character was just destroyed in the show. And the book character is, I'd say, about 80% of the time better. And smarter. That's the thing. And yeah, like, they'd be more loyal to Jon, but I think that's largely true in the North. In the South, not so much, you see. And I can't stress this enough. Even though people might just love Jon and are loyal to him, that shouldn't diminish Dany. She's suddenly not going to be some powerless person that's not anything because Jon is more popular and more influential. Like, that's not going to happen. She will, if she sits on the Iron Throne, she will be queen. That's it. And what the fuck's wrong with the joint rule? But you know what? I have my preferences. No one sits on a Night Throne. Night King should have won, and fuck you. But I feel like she's the way she is because it's been drilled into her all her life that one of the Targaryens should take the throne. Viserys proved to be unworthy and he was killed, so that leaves her. So she's very obsessed with this, and she wants change, and power is the way to do that. And I can't see Jon impeding that. Why would he do that? He's not going to do that. If anything, he would help her. If anything, he would prop her up. And she could easily play on that loyalty to Jon, which would give her greater power. Duh! It's like, I really don't want this to be the Mad Queen thing. Like, that's all I know. Let Cersei be the Mad Queen. Let her be the Night Queen. Don't let it be Dany. This is garbage. Well, but I really believe that this shit between is just manufactured. It's just out of character dreck. Want to remove Cersei? Send Arya. Problem solved. Yeah, they're talking about removing Cersei, and honestly, I prefer Sansa at this point. I mean, I get what Dany's trying to say. I don't hate her or anything, but she has always rubbed me the wrong way, which is why I've been very ambivalent. But I think a lot of that is just the way she's presented on the show. That may very well be the issue. I just feel like this whole thing is just a mess. It's a mess. Oh yeah, then Jon spills the tea to Arya and Sansa, and Bran says it's your choice, but Bran knows it too. He knows the truth, and Arya probably will not say anything, but later on Sansa does, and oh, here comes Bronn. And I'm like, oh no, 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 Bronn, like, how did he get there with a crossbow? How did he get past the guards? And some great banter. I like that. I didn't mind it. Some people thought it was bullshit, but I didn't mind it. And I knew Bronn wasn't going to kill either one of them. I knew that. And only death will shut you up. Oh, you are so right, Bronn. Kill them all and you're a god. Yeah, he talks about kill one, you're a murderer. Kill many, you're a conqueror. Kill them all, you're a god, yeah. But I knew he was never going to kill them. If he intended to do it, he would have had far better ways to do it. So yeah, whatever, that's done. And something here, I mentioned Clegane Bowl and Arya kills Cersei. Yeah, that, well, fine, whatever, we'll just have to see about that. And Tyrion says here, like, it's like, well, something about fear, and I say that a bit of fear is the operative word, and even then it kind of depends on who needs some fear, or at least the knowledge that being a shit won't get them off lightly. Varys makes this very clear. Varys also contradicts himself, like, no. God, this was where they were talking about, like, their concerns about Dany. And again, Varys is just contradicting himself here, because I remember in previous seasons he was telling Tyrion about an ideal leader, like someone strong enough to intimidate the High Lords, and I'm fine with that, the bit of fear. There you go. And basically intimidate the shitty people too, or make it clear that it's in their best interest not to fuck with you. Just saying, like something like that. But to intimidate the shitty people and the High Lords, and humane enough to appeal to everybody else. That is something he pretty much said. And Tyrion asks, well, where do you find this he? Where would you find him? And Varys said, well, who said anything about him? Like, and then it shows Dany. And he does admit that he didn't know about Dany, but once he did, he decided, well, why not her? Why not help her? And he makes it clear that his loyalty's to the people, and I like that, I'm fine with that. But then why are you suddenly so concerned about her now? How is she mad? There's like no evidence of this. She's temperamental, she's passionate. Oh, God for fucking bid anybody be that way. I guess that makes him psycho. Like, what kind of garbage is this shit? I mean, she's not perfect, she is rash, but that doesn't mean she's crazy. And then his talk about cocks are important. No, that's not what you said in earlier seasons. That is garbage. This is complete garbage. It just is. And then Tyrion's like, have faith in her. And I'm like, you know what? Yes. Have faith in her that she'll do the right thing. And she will. She doesn't have to be perfect for that. But then there's a scene with Tyrion and Sansa. It says, what if there is someone else? She asked. And I thought, someone else? Someone better. All right, Sansa, how about you? I think you're better. I think that she's more shrewd. She's a bit more strategic. She was more patient, which I think is very important. She was the one concerned about wounded soldiers and dragons, and Dany is all like, no, I want it now. But Sansa can wait. Sansa is someone who is steely without being too fiery. You see, I just think, yeah, Team Sansa anyone? It wouldn't bother me one bit. See, that's the thing. Like I said before, I think she's a great conqueror, Dany is, but I don't think she's a good long-term ruler. And I do hang on to the theory that maybe she likes the idea of being a ruling queen, but the reality is maybe not really. Maybe at least not on Westeros. I mean, maybe on Essos, yeah, go over there and be queen. People love you there. And Meereen, she's mostly pretty popular there, so why not there? But I think with Westeros, I think she realizes, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna go back to Essos, go back to that place where she once lived in, and go there and help people. Just like Jon is more for the north, maybe Dany is more for Essos. She's been there all her life. Why not? But who knows? Like, Emilia Clarke might not like that, though. I think that the actress wanted Dany to sit on the Iron Throne, but meh. Whatever. I just think that a lot of this is clearly, I can't stress this enough, I will say contrived to the grave, because that's what it is. And to think that I thought of Jaime before Sansa on the Iron Throne, or did I? I don't know. But I'm pretty certain that I did do that. And I'm like, honestly, no one sits on the Iron Throne. Still. No one. Damn it. No one. So Tormund is leaving. It may be for the best. Same with Ghost. Ghost's sad. Poor Ghost. And Jon, like, all he did was just nod. Just nodded to Ghost. That's it. That's all Ghost gets. Poor Ghost. But he'll be happy up north, so yay, Ghost. Go be happy up north. And so Sam and Jilly are leaving too. I'm fine with that. Sam can go be a maester. Jilly can have her other kids. They're sweet people. Yeah, don't be facing Cersei. It's all good. And then no one winning the Iron Throne would solve all problems. And it's just I said something here like a joint rule will not stop someone in power. It's not. I mean, I certainly don't believe, but maybe I'm just not thinking of the time period, because when Queen Victoria was in power with Prince Albert, she was like, this was what, the 1800s, whereas someone like Elizabeth I, it was in the 1600s. So and one of the reasons why she didn't marry was because she feared that she would lose all of her power as queen. Yeah. So that's what I was taught, that she refused to marry because she feared losing whatever power she had as queen. And if those laws prove to be true, then I don't blame her. Maybe that's what Dany is afraid of, but for shit's sake, Dany has dragons. Okay, yeah, she's got dragons, goddammit. And she's still a Targaryen. I mean, that counts for something, right? Yeah, so is Jon. Yeah, okay, whatever. But she wants to break the wheel. So I think you want to break the wheel, just smash the Iron Throne, burn it, or you just rule with Jon. And there you go. Smash things, smash things. But I don't believe it's going to automatically end someone's authority. Like, I just don't believe that would happen on West. Whatever. I just don't fucking know anymore. And here's the thing, though. Like, they talk about how Daenerys does not like her authority being questioned. You think Jon Snow enjoyed that? You think Jon Snow liked people questioning his authority? Like, when Janos Slynt was like, no, I'm not doing that. What do you think Jon Snow did? He cut his head off. Nobody likes that. Nobody. And honestly, nothing will stop someone from questioning authority. Nothing. People do. And honestly, one should question everything, but, that's not really relevant. But that just really pissed me off. And there's just a lot of underestimating Jon here, and that really pissed me off too. He isn't weak. My God. And then, let me just keep going here. So they're all like in the air, and this also pissed off a lot of people, but not for the reasons that you think. When I saw this scene, I thought, oh no, I didn't see that coming. Oh, that second dragon, Rhaegal, I think, that second one dies because of ballistas, scorpion ballistas, and one almost took her out. She dodged it, and I thought, no, Dany, no, and she got away just in time. Oh, that would have stank if she died right there. Yeah, I would not be happy there. And hopefully, and I was hoping that she could turn around and just get them before they can reload. But then I think that would have been very rash and foolish, and she actually does attempt it, which I thought, no, don't do this. But then she veers away at the last moment, because those arrows, they were reloading pretty fast. That's the weirdest thing. Like, these kind of weapons would reload pretty slowly. This isn't like the machine crossbow that Sun Tzu invented. Like, the Chinese had this crossbow where you crank and then all these arrows come out. But that was a little crossbow. I don't think they were doing that with giant crossbows. I mean, it was just way too fast. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, okay. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And then, like, Tyrion gets knocked out, Grey Worm's in the ocean, and they're all swimming because this entire fleet got attacked. And part of the reason why people are so pissed is because Dany was in the air. You would have seen those ships in the air. Like, how can you not see them? You should have been able to see them. Like, oh, just ridiculous. And then, as Euron and Cersei, he's kneeling before her, and she'll regret it. She will. And then Cersei's protection is, of course, worthless. You know, like she had no intention of protecting them. She's just using them as meat shields. And I think anyone with half a brain can see that, especially those who know her. But it seems that people just don't seem to know her, which is just weird. I mean, it should be common knowledge that she doesn't really care about anyone except as just slaves. And speaking of slaves, poor Missandei, she's back in chains, and I honestly thought that she could have ended up in a Princess Leia situation, which really would have sucked. Can you imagine if they went there? Ugh. But then Dany talks about how, like if they do take Red Keep, they will blame Cersei. And no, I'm sorry, no. In this case, I think she's wrong. They will blame you. They're gonna blame you, not Cersei's obviously setting it up to be this way. And again, like you think that they would know that, but then Varys and Tyrion are talking about how, oh, we could starve the people in Red Keep, like they'll revolt and this will. Don't you think that would cause just as many deaths? And yeah, burning alive sucks and all, but there is a way around this. Varys should have been smart enough to know that. And this is the same guy who talks about fire and blood. And when he's walking up to the Sand Snakes, he says fire and blood. They're talking about vengeance. What do you think happens there? Like, you think fire and blood just moves away from innocent people? That doesn't happen. He, of all people, should know that yes, people in King's Landing will die, but it will save hundreds and thousands more from Cersei. He knows that. He has always struck me as someone as utilitarian enough to believe that. I know he's not going to like the innocents dying. We know that. But I also know that my God, this guy was a spider and the master of whispers. He's a very intelligent character. He knows how things get done. He knows that Dany's preferred method is dragon. He should have also known about the wildfire. Tyrion should have known about that too, that any fire there would set off the wildfire. Anybody who had a brain would know this. How can you forget it? Oh my God. But I thought here, like, a way to solve this problem is if someone infiltrates and warns the people what will happen and tell them to leave. Help them sneak out. And then those who stay behind, welp. And because the thing is, the Red Keep has all these secret passages. And that if you do it carefully and slowly, like, Cersei probably won't even notice. If you play your cards right, she won't even notice. She said it herself, that the people are so far beneath me that I can't see them. She said it herself. And what you can't see, you can't control. Like, there are ways around this, like warnings, announcements, infiltrate. Try to find a way to get people to leave, like something, anything. Just not this shit. Then I actually say something here where, again, like, I do think the Mad Queen narrative is garbage, but she did make me think of a character who is named Red Mask, and he's a Malazan character from Reaper's Gale, which I think is an excellent. Malazan's just excellent, but what happens to him is that he was supposed to provide leadership and survival, but instead loses his humanity, and it doesn't really end well for anybody. And if she's not careful, she could end up like him. And if the show does that, then oh, fuck them. Yeah, fuck them. And if they're going that route, she can end up like him. And you don't want to end up like Red Mask, but you have to read it to believe it. And stop underestimating Jon Varys. He is not a pushover. He is more temperate than Dany is. He does have feelings. He can be passionate. But he's basically the Blizzard to Dany's fire. See? Ice and fire. But he's not weak. What the hell, people? And then, yeah, I also hope she does end up making the right choice. And I think she will. I think she will. Gotta try to have some faith here. It's not always easy, but she is at heart a good person. She's just being dragged through the mud. And so much of it's misogyny. Like, ugh. And it can't get going now, yes. And they both make excellent points. Like, yeah, sure, but I do feel like They're contrived excellent points. How about that? And I do agree with Varys' loyalties. I truly do. Your loyalties to the realm and to the people, that's wonderful. I believe that. But I also believe that he should know this is a war and that unfortunately, yes, innocent people will die. And I'd like to think that he would have the foresight to say that, like, I know that this is difficult for some people, but this is a war. Innocent people will die. But if 10,000 people in King's Landing die, this will save the hundreds and thousands. I've said this before. I've said it already. But I do believe that he is the sort, and I think Dany's like this too, where killing off a small number of people will save the many. It stinks. Nobody likes this except for sociopaths. But sometimes something like that has to be done. It's just that I feel sorry for people in King's Landing, but I think I've already found the solution to that problem. But I'm not on the show. No one will listen to me anyway, and fuck you too. Next. Oh, what the fuck, Jaime? Oh yeah. So he does sleep with Brienne, and he's her first. That's wonderful. And he leaves, and I'm like, no. Ugh. I honestly thought like he would say something like, but now I realize that she wasn't worth it. It's referring to Cersei. Like, he was talking about Cersei, and I thought that maybe Jaime would say that, well, she wasn't worth it. But no, he says something about she's a hateful woman, and so am I. And I'm sitting here like, come on, am I missing something here? The fuck? I guess Jaime hates himself. And I think at this point he should have no illusions about her. I guess he doesn't. But there is, however, a theory that makes me feel better. That maybe he'll be the one who kills her. That when he goes to King's Landing, he's not doing it because, oh yeah, he promised he'd stand by Cersei's side. That he did it to kill her. He is leaving to kill Cersei. I would love that. And that the reason why he said what he said to Brienne was because he didn't want her following. So yeah, it's heartbreaking. But if he is going there to kill Cersei, then I can see why he wouldn't want Brienne there. Like, that's one thing I could live with. And I did ask, like, why did he leave King's Landing to begin with then? Well, he did in order to help fight against a far greater threat that should not have been vanquished until much later. And so there's talk of like Cersei trying to get Cersei to surrender. She's not. They should have known this. It's just another contrived shit. That's all it is. But she doesn't leave the gates open. The gates are open. She doesn't close them. And hi, Qyburn. And how are you doing? Whatever. This should never have happened. They should have known that she wouldn't surrender. And then Tyrion, Cersei doesn't care about the people. You have to know that. And I see here wait because they're talking, but then Cersei just does something that I'm not surprised at. You know, she tells him, tells Missandei, yeah, sorry about that. I'm kind of off today because I'm just really unhappy here. But she tells Missandei, if you have any last words, say them. And then I was kind of hoping that she would grab Cersei and jump, or maybe just jump herself. But I feel like if she did that, then I think a lot of people would have been killed right there, including Dany and Tyrion. And so it's not such a good idea. But maybe the Princess Leia route, but there needed to be certain circumstances for that to happen, and that didn't happen. But she does, however, look defiant and says Dracarys, just defiant to the end. Dracarys, which means fire, and I'm sitting here like, I knew, you go, girl. And I was hoping Dany would say it, and I was like, yeah, burn them all, because that's, yeah, I might want to be careful about emotion there, because now that I think about it, it would not have worked in the long term, and that's the thing. Blasting fire in the gates at that moment would have been satisfying and awesome, Yeah, it would have taken out Cersei and maybe a lot of people, but in the long run, it probably wouldn't have been a good idea. Yeah, probably not, because he was kind of far away, like Drogon was, and I suspect that he probably would have been shot to death before breathing any fire, and I think that it probably would have killed them all. So Dany, she's upset. She is very tempted to just burn them all. You can see it in her face. Just kill them all. You just killed my best friend. You should all just fucking die. And yeah, I understand that, but she sucked it up. She turned around. She sucked it up. Yeah, like I do wish she did kill them. I think she wishes to, but I know that it would be rash. I know it may be later. I did have some fear that she'll lose more of her humanity, but no, don't, okay? Don't. I don't think she did. I think she just sucked it up. She just moved in and realized that just holding back was the right thing to do. In the short term, it sucks, but in the long term, you'll get far better results by being laser guided, a little more laser guided, and I think that's what she's going to try to do. But it's just the goddamn wildfire. Why didn't anybody mention that? But at any rate, and my throat's hurting. Rest in power, Missandei. Maybe you should have just spat in her face. Just spit in Cersei's face. You're gonna die anyway. Fuck her. Spit in her face. And I just feel like, and at the end of the day, I just felt like, meh, contrived though. So much of this is just contrived. Like how they conveniently found Missandei, and it's just whatever. It just, my God, it's a very well made season, but I really agree that it's probably the worst. Just contrived. That's really how I feel, and I think that'll do. See you later. Bye.